Hello and welcome back to our Lent Reading series for 2023, considering people who encountered Jesus. Today it's day 35, and that means we are beginning the last week of our readings for this year. We begin the week looking at the Roman soldiers who led Jesus away after his trial for crucifixion. The last few readings have looked at the events around the trial of Jesus. Eventually, Pilate sets Barabbas free and commits Jesus to be crucified. He's led away by the soldiers. The passage yesterday ended with Jesus being taken and flogged. The passage continues to say that after the flogging, the soldiers mock him. And we read about that in Matthew 27, starting at verse 27. Then the governor's soldiers took Jesus into the praetorium and gathered the whole company of soldiers around him. They stripped him, put a scarlet robe on him, then twisted together a crown of thorns and set it on his head. They put a staff in his right hand. Then they knelt down in front of him and mocked him. "Hail, King of the Jews," they said. They spat on him and took the staff and struck him on the head again and again. After they had mocked him, they took off the robe and put on his own clothes and led him away to be crucified. Though there is physical brutality here, the main focus of the passage is the mockery. The Gentile soldiers have a Jewish king at their mercy, so they stage a mock enthronement. They use whatever is at hand, a purple cloak, a staff as a scepter, and a crown twisted together out of thorns. They strip him, ridicule him. Kneeling down, they play mock homage, and gradually turns nastier with spitting and blows. When they finished, they give him back his clothes and he's led away. Have you ever been in one of those embarrassing situations when you're talking to someone without realizing who they actually are? It's frequently used as a plot in comedies. There they are talking casually to a stranger on a bus, in a coffee shop or in a lift. They suddenly make an inappropriate remark or a derogatory comment, only to discover later the significance of the person who they've been talking to, usually their new boss or a potential in-law. That moment of realization can be devastating. And the more powerful or influential the person, the worse it is. Imagine how devastating it will be for some when they come face to face with Jesus in all his glory. The Jesus that they'd mocked, been flippant about, or ridiculed as a myth, will not be gently riding into Jerusalem on a donkey like on Palm Sunday. He'll be like his description in Revelation 19, astride a white charger with eyes blazing fire, many crowns upon his head, a scepter in his hand and a robe dipped in blood, riding in triumph. It's a frightening prospect to one day come face to face with the King of Kings and the Lord of Lords in all his majesty. In Revelation 6, there's a particularly scary passage which records what it might be like for some on the day that Jesus returns in his glory. From verse 15 it says, "Then the kings of the earth, the princes, the generals, the rich, the mighty, every slave and every free man, hid in caves and among the rocks of the mountains. They called to the mountains and the rocks, 'Fall on us and hide us from the face of him who sits on the throne and from the wrath of the Lamb.'" It's a sobering passage, but the reassurance we have as his people is that he's just as well as sovereign, and he's good. The famous C.S. Lewis quote from The Lion, Witch and the Wardrobe comes to mind, when Master Beaver is asked whether Aslan the lion is safe. His reply is, "Safe? Of course he isn't safe. But he is good. He's the king, I tell you." All hail Jesus, King of kings, Lord of lords, our sovereign and our Saviour.